How do we start off?
The WITMOT podcast.
Look at the frequency on that.
That's
Is
what
that
you
the
get.
right word?
Look at the frequency on it.
Look at the frequencies on that.
God. Hello, everyone.
Totty. Hello.
Hello.
How
Good
is
evening.
everyone today?
Or morning, or afternoon.
Yes.
Or good afternoon.
When do you think people listen to this podcast?
I don't know. I listen to podcasts in the car, so that can be whenever.
I do too, usually.
Or in
when
the bar.
travelling.
Yeah, I'm more of an evening podcast kind of guy.
Oh. But then I know people like to listen to things on the way to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below for a chance to win £500,000.
No.
To
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Where's this money coming
WITMOT
from?
office and at
No.
London SEH.
Woffice.com.
Oh my god.
I wonder if Woffice is a website.
Office.
Oh boy.
Woffice.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
All right.
How are you guys doing? It's been so long
I just haven't seen you in like
since we last spoke.
a whole episode.
Been a whole
That's not
episode
wrong.
since we've seen each other.
Has much changed?
No, we're still in lockdown.
No.
The
We
world
have to
has
wear masks
ended.
at the shops.
Yeah, well, some of us do.
Some of us don't.
But not all shops. All our shops, but not pubs and...
Clubs and
Batman has to wear his mask when he's
No.
fighting criminals.
What has the world come to? Batman needs his freedom as well.
Well, what would be going on right now?
oh,
The Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Nope.
Sorry, the Edinburgh Minge Festival.
oh no.
No? Is that not right?
No, that's right. That's
Oh,
it,
okay,
that's
yeah, I
it.
thought so.
Oh
I
my
thought
god.
so.
You were trying to think of something else that would have been on during the summer.
All right, it's not the Edinburgh, not the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Ed Fringe.
Who's
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is my mate.
Aren't you doing fringes?
that? Wow.
What is this episode
I don't
so
know.
far? So the Edinburgh Fringe, where you go and you watch lots of shows.
Guys, you're going to have to explain this. I
It's
cannot
the
help
Edinburgh
you.
Fringe Festival. Okay, so every
Should we
year,
record this at another point?
every year, a little pixie comes and lays his seeds in the Merrylands of Scotland, and those seeds grow into theatres and other venues, sometimes like pubs or outdoors. And the little pixie's seeds grow, I've already said this, into venues and buildings. And then people call up with boop, 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 boop. Brrr, brrr. Hello? Guys, help me out. Someone be the other person. Hello?
No, you've got to do it.
Hello. Hello, this is the Fringe Pixie. Okay, so it's okay, so it's like the biggest arts festival in the world.
Biggest arts festival in the world. Everyone goes there, apart from Anna. She hates it there.
No, I really want to go.
She hates
She
art
hates theatre.
and expression.
Tom has never taken me any
How
silly.
could you? You call yourself a good boyfriend and you never take your girlfriend to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
That's because I've never been.
Oh no.
Lies.
Well, neither have I, so why are we talking about this?
That's okay, well, we're going to talk about fringe shows
Our
that we've
experiences
seen.
at the Edinburgh Fringe, because it's meant to be going on at the moment and it's not, and it's really sad.
Ah, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Sad noises.
Can you imagine like all the shows that people have worked on ready for this
Yeah.
year for the Fringe,
Yeah.
and it's just not happened.
Kaput.
Do you think they will have it next year though? So say you
Hopefully.
put in a thing for this year, they'll go, don't worry, you'll still have it for next year.
I think it depends. Well, if they do that, they're at risk of like companies going, well, actually we're bust, aren't we? Because we've lost money. But they might go like, if you did have a space, we'll give you a space. But
Well, listen to this in a year's time and tell us then.
yeah,
I have a hair in my mouth. It's quite a big one.
What colour was it?
I don't know.
Oh.
So,
That could have figured out whose hair it was, but alright.
have you ever been to the Fringe, Anna?
No, I'm going to talk about my favourite celebrity fringes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
But
good.
I will go last.
That's good content.
I will go last in
Yeah,
the round
okay.
of top fives. I will let you guys take the lead on this one because mine's going to be completely different.
okay, well,
what's fair enough? What's your experience with the Edinburgh Fringe, Thomas?
I went to the Fringe and I bought...
A banana.
I went to the Fringe in 2013.
Wowzers.
Just then?
All those years ago.
7 years ago.
No, I'm getting there.
Okay.
All those
Jesus.
many years ago, as a young, bright, wide-eyed performer from the depths of Noobs, with Newbury Youth Theatre, and did a show called The Curious Case of the Ugly Wump and Other Mysterious Monsters. And then I went again in 2014 with the same group, and I did The B-Man of Orn. And then I went again in 2015, and I did a show called Cautionary Tales. I almost said Ugly Wump again. With the same show. All varying qualities of show.
Varying style.
Yeah. Some good, some okay, and some awful.
And there were
shows.
only 3 shows that were just
Yeah.
mentioned, so you
So
work
there you
out
go.
which one was which.
Yeah, and that was it. I mean, we got to go up and see shows as well as perform.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kids, so we just didn't have any money, but also had lots of money at the same time.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
saw everything.
It was crazy.
What about you, Jake?
Well, interestingly, it's very interesting you said that actually, because I actually went to Edinburgh Fringe in 2013 as well.
No way, we
And I
probably saw
performed-
each other.
I know, I performed in this show called Curious Case of the Ugly Wump and Other Mysterious Monsters.
Oh my god.
I know! And then in 2014 I came back and with the same company did a show called B-Man of Orn.
No way!
I know.
This is what coincidence.
And then the third one, don't know if you've heard of it, it's called Cautionary Tales.
Shut the Frunky
Yeah,
Frunk.
we did that at...
Let's get that on a t-shirt. Shut the Frunky Frunk.
Oh god. And we did the same show. Year in... Sorry, we did
With
the same...
year in?
We did the same show year in, year out.
Ah.
Not the same show. We were in the same company for those 3 years. Performed in this tiny venue, flyed all day. And then I went back in 2018 and 2019 because I couldn't be asked to go as a performer again. And it was so much better. But yeah, it's the best place to go and see theatre if you're into theatre. Like new and emerging theatre.
It's also why we're friends.
Pretty much. Not Anna though.
Anna, what's your experience with celebrity fringes?
Yeah.
I have seen them.
Cool. Tom, what's your number 5?
So, my number 5. It's going to be a lot of this episode. My number 5 is... Oh, and also I've tried to kind of exclude, like, celebrity shows, if that makes sense. 'Cause there's a lot
Celebrity
of
fringes.
Yeah. No.
celebrity fringe. I've excluded excessively that. Exclusively. Exclusively. So, yeah, my number 5 is a show called Civil Rogues.
Civil Rogues.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Ah. So what's
Do
your
tell.
What's your number 5? We'll just move on.
My number 5.
What?
Oh. Do tell us about Civil Rogues.
I don't, Civil
Do
Rogue.
tell us about Civil Vogue.
Jessica Custer impression.
Okay, so Civil Rogues was a show that I think was on in Pleasance Courtyard, and it was about England in the 1600s, and acting was outlawed, so it was illegal, and it was just about some people putting on a show.
It's a bit like Footloose then.
Yeah, it was the original Footloose.
Yeah.
That's where Footloose got it. I did.
I can tell.
Yeah, it was just about some actors trying to put on a show.
Although that is kind of what Footloose is about. It's about like
It
Oliver Cromwell
literally
and
is,
like
yeah.
stopping dancing and acting and stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember a huge amount about the ins and outs of the characters and the story, but I do remember that it was like a gamble of a show. I was like, I'll pick this show randomly.
Well, that's
And then
what's
I saw
so
it
good
and I was
about the
like, I love
Fringe.
this. Yeah,
That's
it's
what
such
the
a
Fringe
lottery.
is, pretty much. Like, you go there to be shown different things you'd never see anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no choice. There's no kind of method to the madness of choosing a show in the midst of in the midst of like hundreds of thousands of shows.
Yeah.
What did you like about it? Why was it in your top 5 of all the things that you've seen at the Fringe? Which must be what, like
Hundreds. I mean, well, firstly, it was one of the only ones I really remember seeing. Which
well, that must be good after
is
like
good,
7
right?
years.
Exactly, and like a crap ton of shows.
You crapped on a lot of shows.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Oh
I
my
was there.
god.
The poopy shows.
Jamie. Shameful.
I don't know. It was something different that you don't normally see at the Fringe. It was like, it was almost like a National Theatre kind of show, which is very out of place in the Fringe. I feel like Fringe is more for kind of, well, like Fringe for like weird stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was very different, and it was. I remember it being quite funny, and I think because it was such a like, I have absolutely no reason for picking this show other than that it was the first one I saw, and then I was like, oh, I actually really enjoyed it. It was really good. So that's my number 5. Civil Vogues.
Civil
Vogues.
My number 5 is The Dark Room.
The Dark Room.
I think I saw the show more times than any other show at the Fringe, only because it's been at the Fringe every year that I've been there, because it's been so successful, and because we saw it. The group that we went with is obviously a group of very, like, 30, 12 to... No, not 12. There's like 30... 15 to 18 year olds, so like everyone wants to be together, everyone's very excited, and it was just a very funny show to go and see. Basically, it started off as a YouTube video, is that right?
I think so, yeah.
It started off as a YouTube video. It's one of the very first like YouTube viral things, and it used the annotations of the videos to take you on like a video game journey, and it was this impossible video game that you had to...
It's like a choose your own adventure thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it starts off with this guy saying, John Robertson, he says, you awaken to find yourself in a dark room, what do you do? And you have 4 choices, and you can pick one of the choices, and then it takes you onto another situation, and it's like Dungeons and Dragons, but choose your own adventure. And he made that into a stage show, so he would first like pick someone in the audience to make the decisions, and then he sort of introduced these democracy rounds where the whole audience would choose which path to go down, and it was really funny because you'd have like people wanting to eat, and then like half the audience screaming, no, we need to sleep, no, we need to go left, no, we need to go right. It just is really fun, interesting way to play with your audience. And he was just having fun on stage, like it was
definitely.
random, and he was just having a blast.
Do you see? I see. Bullshit, you see! I remember screaming that.
You die!
I have that on my list of honorary mentions.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be on yours. So
yeah, it was just so clever. Again, we'll say this probably about every single show that we're going to mention, but we had never seen anything like it before. It's what the Fringe is for, but it was just it was a cool way to make successful thing on YouTube into a stage show without making it corny or taking anything away from it.
He likes
just a really
properly
fun
makes
night
it.
out. Yeah, put some comedy in there.
And
I'll
I have a memory of screaming bullshit at like a 7-year-old girl.
Bullshit,
that had been
you see.
The Dark Room, because I was looking for this the other day to show to a friend. It's actually been turned into like a proper video game now, like an animated video game. Yeah. I'm just trying to find
We tried to solve it.
Hours of like trying to complete the path. Here we go. The Dark Room is the world's only live-action video game, and definitely the only live-action video game to become an actual video game. Let's click on through. Yeah, it's on Steam.
Oh wow!
Which you can buy right now for money. I can't find how much it is.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 quid.
That's not bad. John Robertson, if you're out there and you want to be on the podcast or sponsor us, or you came to see our show once.
I was
going to
say, what a shout out. What a guy.
Yeah, we talked to you on the mile and you would just stop and talk to this random group of young weirdos from Newbury, and we came to see your show and say how much you loved it, and you actually came to see our weird family show.
It was the worst show.
The worst
It was the
one.
awful show. But in the recording, which I have and lost, you can hear him laughing. Like,
doesn't he laugh at a bit we do as well?
it was something that like wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
It wasn't even trying to be a joke. And actually no, maybe
Was
it was
something
like
with the guards.
maybe
I
yeah,
swear
it
was
might
something
be.
with the guards.
Someone said something, and I think it was supposed to be a joke actually, but no one laughed. So he just goes like, "Ha ha!" from the back.
So funny.
Yeah, and then he had to leave early because he was doing his show, but he just came to see it because
He's a wonderful
we asked him to.
guy.
He's a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was every year from 2013 to 2016. I didn't see it in 2018 or 19, but it was on because it's so successful and does well every year.
Anna.
Cool. My number 5 celebrity fringe is Emma Watson's Fringe.
Wow,
That looks
that's
really good.
a nice fringe.
Yeah.
When is that from?
That it's after, I think this was during like Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
She doesn't have it in Beauty and the Beast, but I think
It's like the promo phase.
yeah, I think it is a lot of
Does-
her norm.
Does the bun encapsulate it, or is it just the fringe that you like?
No, just the fringe itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good fringe.
So
It's
like
quite. It says ideal for fringe beginners. Emma Watson nails a soft, centered, parted style that can be hidden when wanted.
There you go.
So what would you feel about if she shaved like proper like wet shaved her whole head apart from that bit of fringe?
It would still be a good fringe.
There we go. That's the sign of a
Yeah.
good fringe.
But that's only your number 5.
That's a number 5.
Wow.
Just you
We're
wait,
getting-
guys.
go up.
This
Just
is
you
the-
wait,
the
Henry
big-
Higgins.
This is the beginning fringe, so
Wowzers. Anything in particular, just that you like it? Just it's soft?
I think it just really suits her. I think it's a really nice fringe.
Lovely fringe.
That's a good
I feel
fringe.
like you could go to the hairdresser and be like, "Can you do this for me, please?"
They'd be like, absolutely
Yeah.
perfect fringe. May I say, what a good choice
Yeah,
of
very
fringe you
light,
have.
and like you said, like you can brush it off and clip it back
Yeah,
if you need to.
multiple
It's not
styles.
too in the way. Just above her eyes as well, so it's not like in her
Sorry, it's a
eye.
car.
Ew.
And
Yeah.
and you could take that.
And there's the little bits at the side as well, so it's not like a full-on like fringe that goes around the sides.
That's sensible enough for you to take to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival as well.
Do you think?
Definitely.
So.
There you go.
Cool.
Carry on.
My number 4.
Thanks for that, Anna.
My number 4 is a show, unexpectedly good show called Bears in Space.
Oof, what a good show. What a show.
Who's speaking to me about this show?
Yeah, so it had Jack Gleeson from Game of Thrones, who you might know as Joffrey, who is, like very famously known as like one of the most hated characters on TV for all the like best reasons. He did a show, and I think he's like gone on to actually do more of this sort of stuff now. But he set up a little like company, I think, and they did this show called Bears in Space, which was a kind of puppet show about bears in a space shuttle. And he didn't have a huge part, which was good because his name was on it, and I figured he would have like the main part. But I remember the puppets being really well made, and I also remember it being a first come first serve seating thing. So everyone had tickets for a seat, but where you sat was dependent on how early you got there and who else was there. But it was in a really nice little theatre that was kind of like underground somewhere. I think it was Underbelly or something. Yeah, it was a tiny little theatre. It was really nice, and it was a really funny show.
There's another good thing about the Fringe is that because it literally crams you into the weirdest spaces, you have nothing but the actual show to focus on.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be good, otherwise you're just going to be complaining about what you're seeing or not, who you're sat next to, or whatever.
But yeah, if I would highly recommend checking out like Jack Gleason's stuff, because I'm sure he's carried on doing theatre-y stuff.
And I think they still perform it, because I didn't see it at the Fringe, but I saw it like 2 years after you saw it in Soho. They brought it to the Soho Theatre and put it on there. It's so good.
And he was around meeting people afterwards, I think. I think we've got some friends that got photos with him. I'm just trying to see if I can find anything. I mean, there's pictures. If you Google Bears in Space, you can see all of the puppets. Yeah, it was super weird as well, but it was really cool, and I would watch it again. There we go. Bears in Space.
Bears in Space.
Jack.
My number 4. The
Space.
Cabinet of Madame Fanny Dutay.
Fanny.
Dutay. This was a show I saw last year at recommendation from my boss at the time. He went to university with one of the lead actors in it, and she was amazing when she was in it. But it was it was set up in a tent. It was part of the Pleasance courtyard, but it was in one of the tent venues, so it was like this circus feel. But it was basically this kind of cabaret style storytelling show where this Madame Fanny Dutay told of all the stories that she'd lived through this little cabinet that she had, and she pulled out all these objects, like a piece of seaweed, or she got the audience to pull them out. It was like a piece of seaweed and like what else? I can't quite remember, but there were different like objects that she'd collected from her big life that she'd lived.
Yeah.
And with each thing that the audience picked out, they then told the story to do with that object, so it could go in a different order every single night.
That's
which was
cool.
really cool. And I saw it twice, and it kind of made a difference to the story, but not too much, which was good. But there was awesome music with each one, and it turned out that she was just imagining the whole thing, and it was just because
It was all a
I know.
dream.
Well, it was because she was getting like forced into marriage. She wanted to escape, and due to that, she was just imagining her life to be different than it was. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
But yeah, it was just a really unexpected show, like you said, like it always normally is. Like there was ridiculousness and comedy, and it made you sad and angry, and mostly made you laugh. But yeah, it was just completely unexpected, and really nice to have it recommended as well.
It's always good.
Yeah. So nice, I saw it twice. Cabinet of
That's
Madame
the
Fanny
slogan.
Dutay.
Lovely.
Yeah. Anna, number 4.
My number 4 celebrity fringe is going quite classical with this fringe.
Classical.
Quite a
Queen Anne.
bit of a different fringe that you wouldn't really go
Yeah.
for, but on
Henry
this
VIII.
person,
Yeah.
it's quite iconic.
Okay.
And that's Audrey Hepburn's fringe.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
It's called a micro fringe. Audrey Hepburn's mini bangs were signature to her gamine chic. Is that how you say it?
Sure.
Gamin.
This is your special subject.
The style, which looked so fashion forward in the 1950s, can now be seen on modern day muses such as Emma Watson and Lily Collins. So
That's where I had the haircut when I was like 5 years old.
yeah, the mini micro fringe. But I think it's just such an iconic fringe. Like,
Mini micro, not
like
just mini.
on
If you
her.
just
Covered
micro.
up
Mini
that.
micro.
her face, you'd still know it was
Yeah.
Audrey.
So yeah.
That is a
I
classic
call her by
Fringe.
her first name. By the
Oh
way.
yeah. Auds.
Audrey.
That's what I call her.
Audrey.
Audrey Hepburn. What did she do? Breakfast at Tiffany's, and she was Eliza, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Eliza
she
Doolittle.
was indeed.
Yeah.
In
Baby
the movie.
Driver.
Yeah, she was in the Jungle Book.
God.
The Borrowers.
She was Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Ka-chow.
So
That's what she sounds like.
yeah, you don't. I guess sometimes people don't realise it is a fringe and might think it's clipped,
Mm.
Yeah.
but it's not. It's a tiny little fringe.
She was the OG pixie cut.
Yeah.
It wasn't really pixie, but you know.
She was also Pixie Lot.
Audrey Hepburn was pixie lock,
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah. Confirmed on this podcast.
Wow. You heard it here
Okay.
first, ladies and gents.
Oh dear.
Swanee.
How I love
Did she
you,
sing
how
it?
I love
No.
you. That was Garden.
That was Garland. I was
Garden?
confused.
Gardland.
I always get confused between Liza Minnelli, Audrey Hepburn, Judy Garland. Just all the gay icons, pretty much.
And
And
Well,
Howe.
Judy Garland was. Oh well, Liza Minnelli was Judy Garland's daughter. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
Liza
Yeah,
Minnelli
yeah.
was Judy
Judy
Garland's,
Garland's daughter.
Yeah,
That's what I said, right?
Judy Garland was Liza Minnelli's mum.
you said Judy Garland was Liza Minnelli's daughter.
Oh, yeah, I meant the other way around.
Liza Minnelli was Judy Garland's garlic
Got it.
God.
garlic sauce.
What's your number 3, Tom?
My number 3 is Sing for Your Life.
Oh, that was what I was trying to think of the name of.
Sing for Your Life. So I saw a poster. No, I didn't see a poster. Sorry, I saw in the Fringe guide a picture because they all come in little squares and they have a little segment that they have to sell you the show on. And there's like it's like the Argos catalogue. It's really thick, so you have to find shows that appeal to you. And I saw a picture of a really like scabby looking dead fox, and it looked so funny. And then I read the info bit next to it, and it said basically there was a woman who had her dog taxidermized after it died, and the people that did it did a really, really bad job of it. So she had this horribly ugly stuffed dog that used to be her beloved pet, and she thought, what a good idea to get loads of really deformed taxidermized animals and make a puppet show with them. And that sold me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I remember saying like, who wants to go see this show with me? It's about gross dead animals. And then it was this, we went to the Underbelly, I think. It was definitely underground somewhere.
Yeah, it was in the underbelly.
And it was the weirdest show I've ever seen, but it was so funny.
The funniest.
It had a cast of like 3 people, but the animals, there were like 8 or 9 of them, so they all did different characters and helped puppeteer different things. Like, for example, the fox. I think the fox was one of the hosts, and the fox was puppeteered by 2 people because where it had been run over so many times by a lorry, it was really long.
It was really long.
So like
so long.
So you had one person puppeteering the front of the fox and one person puppeteering the back end, and it would like jump like a, I don't know, I'm trying to think like Slinky Dog, like the first end would jump somewhere and then the second end would follow like a second later. It was just really funny. The premise was to put on a cabaret show to see who was like the best animal, and it was all from the perspective of a little dog, the woman's dog, who I think wanted to be wild or just wanted to leave the house and see what was outside the garden or something like that. So they all did a little song, and the songs were really good.
The singing was unbelievable.
Puppeteering was great. The story was really funny. I remember there was a Minx cat that its like finale party trick was to turn inside out.
I didn't like
disgusting.
a bunch of
So
bad
funny.
taxidermy chicks sing like "I'm a slave for you"
So there
or something.
there were squirrels who did like a little number as a group.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then there was a chicken who did a Britney Spears tribute.
Yes.
And she sung Slave.
I'm a
But the thing about the chicken was
slave for
that
you.
she had no feathers.
Oh my god.
So she just like, it was like she took all her feathers off and was naked. But yeah, it was really funny and really weird and really adult. And I remember I've got a photo somewhere, but the way they marketed it was with the squirrels. So they found a fence somewhere, and the squirrels would sit on the top and like look at people and make noises. And it was super funny. You went and saw it twice, I think.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
One with you guys, and then one with when you went to see it, I think, and
Yeah.
then when other people wanted to go and see it.
Yeah,
just
I saw it again.
have to go see it again.
Yeah.
It was equally as good.
We'll try and find the fox to show Anna.
I've seen it. You've shown me already
So good.
numerous times.
Well, you can see it again.
No.
Well, my number 3 is a guy called Tryggve Vakenshaw. That is his actual name.
Yeah. There's the
There it
fox.
is.
That's insane. Oh, that's what I remember.
Just us reacting to
That's what I remember.
foxes now.
Yeah, he is a mime artist called Tryggve Vakenshaw. He's done 3 separate sea-related shows. Don't know why. The first one was called Squid Boy, which we missed because he did that before we first went there. And then he did a show called Kraken and then Nautilus. It was during a day where, as we've kind of said, we ended up not trying to, but we ended up seeing shows in big groups.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it was maybe our first year there, or maybe other people's first year there. And
We were like
felt-
encourred to travel in groups as well, weren't
yeah,
because
of
we were
course.
like kids.
We were quite, we forget, we were like 15, 16, which is still quite young to be in a city that you don't know. But yeah, it was one of the days where me and our friend John had managed to escape, and we went off on our own for the whole day and saw like 3 or 4 shows that day. And one of them was called Kraken by Tryggve Vakenshaw. We thought it was going to be this really emotional, like deep story about a pirate or about a sea captain who lost his family at sea or something, and he's trying to take down the Kraken. But it had nothing to do with the sea at all. It was just this one Australian mime artist just doing the most ridiculous things he could to make you laugh. And that was the whole show for about 60 minutes. The first thing he did was he came on stage from stage left, really slowly. So he poked his head out first, and then all his body came out, and all his clothes were attached to ropes off stage that were like shorter and shorter distances. So as he came forward, he had to take his shirt off, and then he came forward a bit more. I was like, I have to take my trousers off, and then one was attached to his underwear, so he had to take that off. And then in the first 2 minutes, he was just butt naked in front of you on stage, and then he did it all over again just for the sake of it. It was just really random and not what I expected. But he's like, I've never appreciated mime before, but he made me laugh in a way I didn't know I could.
He's quite famous for the Fringe, isn't he? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's always in like a big venue now. And
Yeah, it's huge, and it's like his Squid Boy, Nautilus, and Kraken. Are like his 3. Those are his 3 kind of sea themed show that he's done and developed at the Fringe.
yeah.
I was lucky to go see Nautilus as well for his last one, which was even better. Which was just like pretty much like a sketch show he did, or like a cabaret pretty much of different skits that he just came up with. Yeah, Tryggve Vakenshaw. He did come to Soho a couple of years ago. I think he's still going on tour, but I would definitely recommend. You would have loved it.
Yeah, I never got to see it, and
It would have
there's some
insane.
shows that you just like, I wish I'd seen that.
You would have.
And that was one of
Yeah.
them. That and Red Bastard. I never saw
Oh
that.
my god! Didn't you see that?
Nope.
I swear you were there.
Never saw Red Bastard.
Oh, why didn't I put that down? Fucking hell. Yeah. So Tryggve Vakenshaw. Yeah.
There we go.
Anna, you're number 3.
My number 3 Fringe is I forget her name. Who played Anastasia Steele in 50 Shades of Grey? Dakota
Johnson.
Fanning?
Johnson.
No, not Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Johnson.
Charlotte's
Yeah.
Web.
Yes.
But I think her Fringe is pretty cool.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
She
it's
wears
like an
it-
arrow pointing to her head.
Yeah,
Well, bang,
she's
isn't it? Or is that the same?
bang, gorgeous example of long hair with bangs.
When do bangs come a fringe?
I don't know.
Okay.
But she has this hairstyle in the 50 Shades of Grey films.
Mm.
And I've always... one of the nice things about the film is her hair.
Mm.
So there you go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
She's a bit like a vampire.
She does look like she belongs in the Twilight
She is wearing
series.
clothes. Mm.
Oh, what a
And I
shame.
mean, it helps if you see the picture for that
Yeah.
one. But it looks like she's not wearing clothes,
No,
but she
but
is.
her fringes, it kind of goes into her hair.
Quite similar to Emma Watson's.
More thicker though.
More thicker.
There you go.
Morris Tickeray.
Is this recent then?
I don't know.
Because if it's not, it better be. She needs to step up her game, Dakota Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered a show.
There you go.
Yeah.
Before I go on to my number 2. I don't know if I can't remember if you saw it or not. We went and saw this show, and it was like something like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, with like strobe lighting and LEDs, and it just played while all the lights were going nuts, and then it got to the end of the piece of music, and then everything just played backwards, and the lights did the same thing in reverse.
Oh yeah. Was there?
It was the
no,
biggest-
I didn't see it. I remember hearing
It was
about
the
it.
biggest pile of shit I've ever seen. It wasn't even like anything you could read into it, like artistically.
No.
It was like, no, you've just put Beethoven on with some lights.
There are so many of those that I just must be not remembering.
Yeah, same. So much.
Yeah, I could tell you kind of what happened ish, and why it didn't make any sense, but yeah.
One of them being all of the shows
All
we
of
read.
it. Yeah.
My number 2, I saw this on my first year at the Fringe, 2013, and it blew my fucking mind. I literally had no words after this had finished. It's called Blam.
Kablamo.
So it's like a 2-hour show of some guys in the office just working. I think they're from like the Netherlands or somewhere. Yeah, they're all working in an office. The set was huge and it looked like a typical cubicle style office. Yeah, they were all working, kind of trying to find ways to like spice up their work day by like, you know, messing around, throwing paper balls at each other. And the first like 45 minutes were quite boring. Purposefully done, I might add. It's not just like I was bored. It was done like that on purpose to just make it seem even more dull, I think. They could have easily done the show in an hour, but I think they stretched it out for the purpose of, you know, for making it feel like they're stuck in a mundane, like, dead-end job. Yeah, and it just, like, it's all silent as well, no speaking, apart from the word fuck. That was all they said. And, yeah, it just got... I can't really remember what happens that starts it, but it just gets batshit crazy until they're recreating, like, movies in the office, but on, like, a huge scale. So one guy falls in love with a water cooler and they attach two, like, lamp, like, arms to the bottom of it so it becomes alive. And there's this whole love story with a water tank, but it's like a robot.
The whole stage tips up.
Yeah, they did like Rambo as well. They were pulling
Yeah.
people through cubicles. There were so many stunts in it.
There was someone who dressed up as the Hulk.
Yeah, I remember them riding on like a coffee cart that was like a jeep in like a Rambo movie, and they were shooting at each other. And then one guy came out with a hat stand, I think it was the boss, and like spanned the legs on it so it looked like a gun barrel spinning. Yeah, and then the end bit was the water tank dies, and the guy's so full of grief and like anger that he goes nuts, and I don't know, he can like control electricity or something. And he's like screaming and the lights are flashing, and then literally the whole stage tips up. It just blew my fucking mind, and it was like I didn't even realise that was a thing you could do. Like I didn't realise you could tip a whole stage up on its vertically. Yeah, and then they had this huge, to finish it off, they were all dressed as superheroes, but their superhero costumes were made from things around the office. So like Wolverine had like pencil claws, and they had this like huge wrestling match.
But they were still like buff.
Yeah.
Because they had to be. They were like acrobating around the stage.
Honestly,
so
it was
believable.
Fucking insane.
It was.
It's one of those shows you don't even think like, oh, I'm a bit uncomfortable, or like, I wonder when this ends, or I need the loo. You're just like completely glued.
Yeah.
Huge venue as well, which just testament to how great it was, because sometimes things get lost in bigger venues. Yeah, and then at the end of it, once they've finished prattling around. It's kind of like it was all in their head, I guess. After they finish prattling around, they just go back to their desks and carry on working. But obviously, because the sets change so much, they're like trying to work around the like really inconvenient set that's like tilted up vertically. Like one guy I think has to sit at his cubicle, which is like stuck to the wall, so he's like on his side. It's so good. They were going to come to London, but I don't know if they ever did. But if you Google Blam, there's a video, a very brief video of a couple of the stunts, and it doesn't do it justice, but yeah,
it's also my number
insane. There you go.
Yeah, just everything you said and more. It was just so, I think, especially because I remember the feeling coming out of everyone, especially you being speechless, but just everyone being so excited that they'd just seen something they'd never thought they'd see in their life.
Yeah.
Like, we're a bunch of really creative, overly energetic 14, 15-year-olds, and we'd all just seen something that we loved and didn't think would exist. And it was just like, what do we do? We're so excited. Let's talk about it. What? It's all going crazy. Yeah. Unbelievable. Can't add anything more.
I remember sitting in for the first bit just thinking, like, this was a mistake.
Yeah.
Why did we come and watch this? And then just by the end being like, that was the best fucking show I've ever seen.
I remember the day after, basically the person who run the theatre company that we went with, who also is a reviewer for the local town newspaper and for UK theatre, said that he left halfway through because he was bored.
Yeah.
And we were all like,
I forgot about that.
no, stay till the end, it gets so much better. And he was like, what? No, it can't get better. It was so boring. He was like, no, you need to stay. Did you not wait until the whole thing came? He was like, what? No.
It's one of those things.
Go again then.
It's one of those things of like, you have to appreciate it as a whole piece of theatre.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying in the last episode about BoJack Horseman. It's like you have to stay and watch it before you make up your mind. You can't just give up halfway through because that's not what they intended you to see. There's no interval in it, so there's no chance to get up and leave. It's like you have to watch the whole thing to understand it and appreciate it. But if it ever comes back, I'm 100% going to get tickets. But yeah, it's so good. So good. Blam.
Anna.
Well, my number 2 celebrity fringe
Is Blam.
It's a bit of a fuller fringe, so it's more
don't know if I can
covered.
take this.
It's Lily James with a fringe.
Oh,
With a fringe.
wow.
I've not seen her with the fringe that often.
So that every
She was
day.
alright, didn't she?
Mm.
This is
She's
an
really good.
example of long hair with a fringe.
Yes.
It's an idea of a style. Lots
I
of
mean,
people
Lily
quite
James
like that.
can do no wrong, can she?
I know.
Really?
She's very pretty, isn't
It's
she?
beautiful.
But she, like, the sides of her fringe flick out
Yeah, that is quite
and
extreme.
kind of go into the long hair. And her fringe is kind of straight and her hair is curly.
Wow.
And it's just above her eyebrows.
That's right where you want the fringe to be.
Just
Yeah.
above the eyebrows.
Yeah, it's just very
And,
nice.
you know,
Well,
to
it
the
kind of
side
like
of the
scoops
face.
down, so it kind of like cuts here
Yeah.
and then again shapes into the rest of her hair, which is quite nice.
Mm.
There you go.
Cool.
There we go.
Very good. Yeah, I'm not going to
Honourable
see for my number 1.
Chance. I didn't get the chance to go home and look at my tickets, so I'm going to miss loads.
Well,
so do you want to go and I'll pick up the pieces?
I'll just name a few. I've got these are all ones I saw post 2015 actually, so 2016 or whenever was the last one we went. I've got Ripped, which I saw last year, which was an awesome show about like male sexuality and male rape and how that goes under represented and all that sort of stuff. Unbelievable and moving. And yeah, Tobacco Road, which in 2018, which was like in the Pleasance Courtyard. It was like the Peaky Blinders on stage. It was like pre-industrial era London. Very awesome, very badass, well choreographed modern piece of theatre.
Cool.
Margaret Thatcher, Queen of Soho, even that's not a fringe show, that's the first time I saw it and it's one of my favourite shows I've ever seen. I can't believe I haven't seen it before. And also Danny Stokes, who was in the Newbury Panto, was in it while it was in the Fringe, so it was really cool to see him up there in the Fringe. And he's really nice. Shout out to Danny Stokes. Honey Pot, which I again saw last year, which was an all-female story about Cinderella getting married, but all the other princesses were there as well. So it's kind of like the scene in Wreck-It Ralph 2 when all the princesses are together, but Cinderella's getting married and they're all like, come on girl, you've got this. And it's like, no, pull yourself together, bitch. And stuff like that. And it's this all-female cast telling that story in a way that hadn't been told before. It's really cool. Loads of stuff. Female role model project. There's a cool exploration about who we look up to in the world and who girls look up to and who their female role models are now. So much stuff that I can't remember as well. I could go on for hours.
Yeah, there's loads that I probably loved but I've forgotten about.
Auntie Donna.
I've got The Dark Room.
Yeah.
Lights, Camera, Improv.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They were the guys that, for context, now have done comedy about bank robbery, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, Play That Goes Wrong, the TV show that goes wrong, I can't remember what that's called. Yeah, they're huge now. J.J. Abrams directed one of their shows, but we saw them do Lights, Camera, Improv, which was just an improv show, and it was really funny, really, really
usually
good.
They are not.
Abandoned Man, which is like a freestyle rapper. He literally raps about anything, but he personalises it to the audience of each show. It's just really cool.
Yeah,
really cool, and it's something you would only ever get at like a fringe festival. Like it wouldn't have a place on the West End or anything like that. I saw a show called Jurassic Park, which you may have heard of. It was about a retelling of the film through... it was a family and their dad had died and Jurassic Park was his favourite film. So every year the kids like recreated the film together, but it was really creative. Like they did the whole scene with a cup where you can see it wobbling and they had like a torch. And I remember they used like an open backpack for the mouth of the T-Rex and they'd like piggybacked on each other, but they kind of piggybacked backwards. I know that sounds really weird, but anyway, it looked like a T-Rex. That was super cool. Voca People, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
An a cappella group who don't really sing, but they just kind of make noises, and they're really impressive. I think you can find them online if you want to check out that, because I can't really do it justice. There's a show called Vessel, which was all set on a boat, which was great. Awkward Conversations with Animals I Fucked, which was what it sounds like, but it was a whole lot deeper.
I forgot about that.
And Porky the Poet, Phil Jupitus. We went and saw Phil Jupitus. He does a free show pretty much every year he's at the Fringe because he thinks that celebrities should offer something like that, which I think is a great way to look at it because they kind of dominate the Fringe otherwise. He just read some poems that he'd written and he was a really nice down-to-earth guy and he chatted to everyone and said hi to everyone on the way out. So, there we go. Anna.
Honourable mentions.
Oh my gosh, my honourable mention, Fringe.
Only one.
I didn't look through that many Fringes, guys.
Sorry.
Is Kate Middleton's Fringe.
Oof. What an honorary mention.
Quite a glamorous woman. She's quite sophisticated, isn't she?
I think she's the number one people. Wait, hang on.
People.
She's the number one person people want to look like.
Yeah.
I'd say.
She
Gary Busey.
She's just quite well.
Yeah, I mean they're on equal
Similar.
playing terms.
Yeah, she does quite good with the Fringe.
It's not doing anything groundbreaking though, is it?
No.
I can see what's an honourable mention.
Yeah.
It's just doing the
I
Dakota
preferred
Johnson.
how she looked at her wedding, which she didn't have the Fringe. She had her hair off.
Okay.
But this, I think she can rock. And
Yeah, she's
Sure.
top.
Yeah.
I think she looks quite good as a royal with a Fringe.
The royals not usually have fringes.
Don't think so.
Royals do not have a fringe.
One does not simply grow a
But
fringe.
she's a mum of 3 and she looks great.
It's true. It's all that money.
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 But my,
When your grandma-in-law is on the money, you'll be all right.
but this person, celebrity Fringe, is probably the most iconic celebrity to have a Fringe.
I hope it's who I'm thinking is.
Well, hang on,
It'll be-
Tommy's to
it'll-
go first,
it'll
yeah?
be my number
Do
one.
his number one.
That is usually.
Oh no. Who's your number one?
Well, we were on about something different, but if you're on about who my number one celebrity Fringe would be,
Yeah.
mine would be Sia.
Oh, no.
Okay.
That's a good
I
one.
went with like actual nice
She's all
fringes.
fringe.
Actual nice fringe.
Well, you can't see her eyes. It's a silly fringe.
Go on then, who's your...
Zoe Deschanel,
Oh, it's got to be. She has the best fringe.
the ultimate fringe pin-up, having had this chunky schoolgirl fringe for a decade, and she's rocked it.
Every year since.
She's new girl, isn't she?
She is,
Yeah.
Jess. Who's that girl?
She's been in loads of stuff,
It's
but has
Jess.
always had that fringe, and she looks very pretty with it.
She does. She is a proper celeb crush.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a good one.
Good
But I think she's the most iconic celebrity to have a fringe. She's always had it, whereas other celebrities either
been a
have it or
look.
they don't.
yeah,
She's always
her
got
look.
it,
that is true.
and I think it's like she has the dark hair and then the nice blue eyes, and yeah, it's just nice.
She's got the dark hair and the nice blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Healthy skin.
There you go.
Do nicely for my collection.
There you go. So Zoe
lips.
Deschanel is my
Very good.
number one celebrity fringe.
Plump fringe.
There you go.
Oh, well done.
Thanks. No, Sia was not up there.
Well,
Wow. Was that your number one?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
number one. My number one, Jake, you mentioned it briefly before.
I do.
No, it's fine. It was Auntie Donna. So Auntie Donna are an Australian group who
I thought
do...
you guys had already talked about your number ones.
Nope.
Why did I go to my number one then?
I don't know.
That's what
I
we
don't
were
know.
talking
That's what I
about.
said. I was like, Tom's still got to do his number
And then
one.
you were
Yeah.
like, what's your number one fringe then? I was like, what's happening?
This person, celebrity fringe, is probably the most iconic celebrity to have a fringe.
I hope it's who I'm thinking is.
Right, hang on,
It'll
Tom
be-
needs to
it'll-
go first,
it'll be
yeah?
my number
Do
one.
his number one.
That is usually.
We can edit it. So
I
it's fine.
thought you
We'll
guys
edit
had already
it,
done your
so,
number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could edit it.
No,
Well,
he's
we could.
not going to.
I don't edit. It's the
Yes, you do.
No, it's the edit gnome.
The editor.
Okay, well, you being the edit gnome.
Editor gnome. I'm not the edit gnome.
You are.
No one knows who he is. He's
Yes,
a gnome.
it is. It's you.
He lives in Gnome Land.
He lives in the brambles.
He lives in
He eats exclusively eats bramble jam.
In Gnome Man's Land.
No, there's no place like gnome. Why are you singing Lion King?
You said he lives in Gnome.
Okay. My number one, is Auntie Donna. They're an Australian sketch group who I didn't know anything about, but have continued to follow them to this day. I was listening to their podcast in the bath this morning.
There you go.
Whoa.
Bath in the morning.
I had a morning bath.
I would never had a morning bath.
I just
They're
woke
good.
up and fancied a bath. It was very nice.
Having a bath during the day is good.
Yeah?
It was good.
I never do.
Before midday.
Sorry.
No, neither do I.
I always do it
It's
right
super
before
good.
bed, and it's crazy.
It's nice,
Yeah?
but yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Sorry, I
Good
keep it in
refreshing
mind.
start to the morning. I remember. Were you with us when they were flying? Do you remember that? We were getting tickets for
I'm
something
sure.
outside the Gilded Balloon, which is where they
Yeah.
performed. First year, anyway, 2013. And they were just three random men on the street dancing, handing out flyers with some loud boombox music playing.
Oh, yeah.
And they were
Like funk
dancing, and
music.
they were like, "Hey, do you like funk music?" And you take one and be like, "Yeah," and they'd be like, "Great, there's none of that in our show." That was their thing, that they were flyering for a show that was nothing to do with their show, and they were really cool to chat to. They were really funny people, and we went and bought tickets there and then from the booth they were flying outside, which is the sign of good performers and a good show. And I went and saw them like 3 times. They do really, really silly humour, but they've all like classically trained in drama school, so they're all brilliant actors and writers, and all of their silly stuff has like an underlying meaning. Like they did a song that blew up a couple of years ago called it was about Christmas time in Australia, because obviously Christmas is summer over there, so they were singing about how hot it is, but then they're also kind of jabbing Australian tradition, like how Aborigines have have been kind of oppressed there for years. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't make you, it's one of those things that's not the message of it. It's to kind of go and laugh, and then you kind of subconsciously taking that message. I don't know, they do sketches on YouTube which are really, really funny and really weird and really stupid, and they do an improv podcast called the Auntie Donna Podcast, and like you said about Lights Camera Improv, it just kind of made me realise that improv could be funny and really well done. They're just great, and they don't care about their podcast, but it's brilliant. Like they don't give a shit about what they talk about. They just kind of go, and I really like that. We saw them in London a couple of times.
I remember just seeing them the first time at the Fringe and just remembering that I'd had a good time seeing a show. Yeah, like I know you're supposed to have a good time, but like you really had fun. Yeah, like you felt like you participated in the fun that the performers were having, which was really cool.
I've never seen performers with that level of energy before as well. Every single show we've seen, they've been on, like turned up to 11. Like they're just so on it, so active, and you can tell they love what they do so much.
And we were always like, it sounds like cringy, but we were always told in rehearsals when we were performing, like, if you sweat by the end of it, you've done a good job. And we were like, all right, I get it, but I don't really want to sweat. But like after seeing them, we're like, fuck it, actually, okay, I want to sweat every single time now.
And also, like, the kind of mantra we used to follow at NYT was like, find the game, play the game. And they do that. They have sketches that they've written, obviously, because that's their show. They go and perform sketches, but their sketches hardly ever go to plan. Like one of them will always corpse, and they'll just go with it and improv for like 5 minutes, and then they'll be like, we're completely off the rails of where we're supposed to be, which I think speaks quite well to our friendship. They're just fucking brilliant, and they're really funny to listen to. And one thing I love about their podcast is how often they break and just acknowledge the fact because I feel like, especially with improv, but also with a lot of theatre, it's taken so seriously. And they're just like, you know what? You're just kind of here to forget the outside world and have fun. And that's just what they do. They're really funny people.
So true. Cool.
Yeah, Jake.
Good choice. I should have chosen Auntie Donna. My number one was Lights Camera Improv.
Oh, mate, there we go.
Like you said, I think it just made me think about improv in a different way. It's obviously Mischief Theatre, so they're unbelievably talented. And what I liked about it most was similar to Auntie Donna. They like stopped and paused and like questioned the things that were going on as they were happening. They were like, wait, no, stop there. You're telling me that this happened and this happened. Like, why doesn't make any sense? Why are you telling me that? And like before that, I was like, oh, improv is funny because it's ridiculous and you can do whatever you want. But actually, reality is what's funny. It's finding the fun in the reality that's the good part of improv. And yeah, like you said, it just broke down what it was and what funny could be. And I remember the jokes that they told in the shows to this day, so it must have been good.
Yeah, I think the format of that show works really well because it's like, it's a rich guy, it's a different person each night, but it's a rich guy who's like, I have collections of all the movies ever made, ever. Past, present, future, you can choose. So then you choose like the theme and the characters and stuff, and then they go, and because he's the one doing the film night, he has the remote control. So if they, like you said, if they mess up something, he's like, hang on, let's just rewind and watch that again, shall we?
Like I remember that there was a big guy with a beard.
Oh yeah,
I remember him doing it at one point. He was so funny. He was so funny.
I just like, they think so quickly on their feet. Like,
that's such a good group.
There was the guy who's always the straight man in Mischief Theatre. If you've seen Peter Pan Goes Wrong, he plays Captain Hook. I remember they did like a fantasy film, and they were playing two kids. It was like Narnia, and someone gave him the sword, and just completely out of the blue, he took the sword from this guy, which was imaginary. It was a fake sword, and just like fell to the ground because it was so heavy, and it was so funny.
And he like slammed on the ground, and it was just it all added up so well. Explaining jokes don't make them funny.
No. But we have to an extent, I guess.
And like, yeah, it's just because you can remember the exact things that happened literally 7 years later. It must have been amazing. And to see that group of people kind of at the start of their career was pretty cool.
Definitely.
Just coming out of drama school.
I just remembered a show that I completely missed off on my honorary mentions. Did you see Shitface Shakespeare?
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well.
How did we miss that
actually.
off?
I don't know.
So this is not on either of our lists, but the premise is they put on a Shakespeare show and one of them's drunk, like hammered, and then
one of the actors is genuinely hugely drunk.
And then if at any point the audience thinks they've sobered up, so they're given a bell and like a triangle, and they can play that instrument, and they have to down a bottle of wine or something.
So good.
And that came to London as well.
It did. That was really successful.
That's an honorary mention, but we forgot it. So
I'll slip it in.
if you see that advertised, I recommend that as well. Endorse that. Well, there we go.
That's it for this week, kids.
5 fringe shows that you can't see but should.
That are just in our brains that were really good.
And top 5
celeb fringes.
What are you talking? No,
I was just
saying it.
confirming.
I was just saying it.
Pineapples.
Scream pineapples at Jake before you didn't even
I'm so scared!
you didn't even hint at saying anything.
I knew you were gonna, but I didn't think it would be that threatening.
You were thinking.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Pineapples! Damn it, you did it.
It's a new game we've got. Ready? Pineapples!
That actually scared me.
Oh my
I'm
god!
gonna deafen everyone.
Bye everyone.
Pineapples, everyone.
Let's try and say goodbye together.
Okay.
What? Just by looking at each other?
We'll just all try and say
How am I
goodbye
gonna
at the
look at
same
both of you?
time.
So we're gonna say bye. Or
Okay,
goodbye.
I'll look at Anna. Anna look at Jake. Jake look at me. Okay, Jake's crossing his eyes.
Okay. I've got both
I
of you.
can see 6 of you.
Oh my god! Wait, are we saying goodbye or bye?
No, we're just gonna improv a goodbye
Oh my god!
at the same time. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Wendy.
Wendy.
I said Wendy.
Let's try again.
Why does everyone slow down their talking? No one speaks properly.
You want to lead it.
Wendy.
That's a good Okay, ready? Let's try this again.
Oh, I think you have to look at both. You can't. I can't. Okay.
Both of you.
But we can't lead it. We'll have to try and... Not one of us can lead it, right?
No.
No.
Why are you...
No.
Ready? Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. Goodbye, everyone. I just
Definitely.
said goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Dr. Nickel.
Back.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Dr. Nickelback. See you next week.
Bye.